Listen, I know I am gonna get my ass beat for this video. I will summon 100,000 unnamed Eunectes simps to come to my house and beat the shit out of me. All about how they are not huffing copium. I am. Eunectes was always good from the first second she released. So hello there, it's me, SUPAH, doing an operator review right after explaining why they are terrible in another video. First specification. Is this video saying Eunectes is bad? No, I am looking at her toolkit objectively and showcasing that fundamentally it's flawed and contradicts itself. This doesn't necessarily mean she's bad. Should you build Eunectes? Probably not, but ultimately the choice is yours. I am just some dude on the internet, not a cop. Second specification. Anecdotal evidence is worth jack shit. You can be like, oh, I use Eunectes in so many stages, she helps so much. It doesn't negate any point in this video. I use Gummy in every stage. I use Gummy in high risk CC. Does this mean that Gummy is S tier? Yes, but this is only valid for Gummy. Third specification. Like 2/3 of this video will talk about Eunectes before her module 1 came out. This is not really an operator review, but just a discussion of how odd her toolkit is. Eunectes without her module 1 is just bizarre. It's just this perfect harmony of everything that could have gone wrong, going wrong. Later on, we will get into how her module 1 mostly fixed her, and how now she is quite a solid unit. So, Eunectes, the operator that is only known because Leduc drew her, and by foot fetishes. And by the way, her feet aren't even that good, they're too big. She is a duelist defender, a defender that rejects defense like Dio Brando, blocks one, and has a metric ton of attack. It really makes you wonder why she's not just a guard. Basically, the whole duelist defender archetype is just dreadnought guards that cost way too much DP. So, what is the issue exactly? This is the issue. This one thing makes the entire kit contradictory, a mess to use, and makes Eunectes a parasite unit, as I like to call them. I guess the intention was to make a very strong skill with tough activation requirements, but Hypergryph completely overtuned said activation requirements. Think a very strong Yu-Gi-Oh! Boss monster. The card has extremely powerful effects, but the activation requirements make it worthless. The same goes with Eunectes. Her skill tree is amazing, but you have to go through 6 hoops and become an Olympic gymnast to activate it. Another note is that without modules, Eunectes can't gain SP from other operators like Warfarin and Liskarm. She can only gain SP when blocking and no other sources. So helping her out is out of the question. The modules again fix this, but we'll talk about the modules later. It becomes even funnier when you realize that Sutra came out literally immediately after Eunectes, so just like 2 weeks later, balancing wasn't a concern anymore for Hypergryph. But let's go in order. She only gains SP when blocking, so one would think that her toolkit would complement that. make her very good at blocking people, so she can activate the very powerful skill tree to boss kill. No, I swear to god, this must be a sick inside joke from the developers. Almost everything here works against Eunectes blocking. First, she's block 1. I don't need to tell you why that's bad for an operator that needs to block. Second, she has more than 1000 attack. She will just pulverize anything that she blocks, gaining very little SP from it. It comes to a point that some ranged enemies aren't getting blocked at all, so you have to point her backwards to make her work better. These are her stats. They are embedded into her. You can't avoid them, and they actively impede you from doing what she's supposed to do. High attack is terrible for Eunectes. She needs to block, but everything she blocks gets liquefied and turned into naked Amelia soap. And if you think the high attack isn't an issue, keep in mind that Aurora, to fix this, literally does not attack at all. Now, you might say she's supposed to be a boss killer, she has to have high attack. No, you goddamned lobotomized gacha player, because it's skill tree doing the boss killing, not normal Eunectes. So lower her attack stat and increase the attack gain on skill tree, and you fixed the entire issue. Let's move on to her talents. Maybe the stats kinda fumbled, but the talents will synergize well with her attacks deal 17% more damage above 50% HP. This must be some rogue developer at Hypergryph with an agenda against snakes. This is just cruel. Below 50% HP, she doesn't have the attack increase. She has shelter instead. But that helps you to go back above 50%. Her talent 2 actually does synergize, increasing the SP gain when blocking. This would be good if blocking wasn't an issue to begin with due to the high attack and low block count. On to skills, Tomahawk. It's worthless like 90% of skill 1s in this game. It gives an extremely small passive buff, but I guess it has the silver lining that, since it's passive, you don't have to worry about gathering SP, and you can just place Eunectes as a very inefficient and way too expensive Dreadnought guard. Also, at least it's not attack up gamma. Skill 2, Menacing Slash. This skill costs 28 SP, which in Eunectes terms translates to about 28 million. It increases her attack a whole lot, which is actually good on skills because at that point you already went through the SP gathering gauntlet of suffering and torture. It stuns all blocked targets for the duration of the skill, which is one target in the vast majority of situations, unless there's some gimmick at play. This skill, once you actually manage to activate it, which shouldn't be too hard the first time thanks to 15 initial SP, can actually be quite decent. It translates to a 9-second stun at double speed. If the boss can be stunned, you can get a lot of value out of this. With an SP cost of 28 and a duration of 18 seconds, the uptime would be good if Eunectes wasn't Eunectes. For Eunectes, any skill that isn't straight up infinite would have bad uptime. Skill 2 is also overshadowed by Skill 3, Iron Will, in most situations. This skill costs a fat 45 SP, which would already be kind of a lot for a normal operator, but on Eunectes, This means that the skill has an SP cost of 45 million, so excluding the first activation, where you get a 25 SP head start, this skill is as painful to activate as grating your balls against a cheese grater, but at least the cheese grater CBT goes by faster. Now, this skill in a vacuum is very good. It increases attack by 230%, defense by 160%, block +2, and restores 6% of HP every second. On any other operator, this skill would be amazing. On Eunectes, again because everything goes against her trait, it's a chore that most of the time isn't worth the effort of activating when you can just use Sutra, or borrow a Sutra if you're poor. Also, this skill isn't AoE. This isn't an actual flaw, but why? Why can Popukar hit more enemies at once than the massive robot with a saw blade as big as a house? Why is it not AoE? It bothers me a lot. Before we get into the modules and how Eunectes was fixed, near the start of the video I called her a Parasite unit. I should probably explain what that is, it's been like 11 minutes. A Parasite unit, in simple terms, is a unit that you have to accommodate for them to work. You can't just toss them in a strategy. This concept is showcased very well in the Guardian archetype. My beautiful wife, Nearl and Saria are normal units. The name is still a work in progress. Units that you can just place down in any strategy and they will do their job. Hung is a Parasite unit. Because of his defensive recovery, you have to accommodate for him by putting him in places where he can be hit. Parasite units aren't organic parts of any given strategy, they often are the strategy, or an annoyance to the strategy, and you must accommodate for them, be it in a very small way like Hang, or in a big way like Ebenholz. Here is another example of a Parasite unit, along with the entire Mystic Caster archetype. You better believe you need to form the entire squad and strategy around this little gay German boy to make him function in any way that matters. Some will argue that one-tapping bosses is useful because you get to skip a lot of annoying boss mechanics, but you just replace them with the annoying Ebenholz mechanics. Now, Parasite units aren't always bad. Ling is also a Parasite unit. When you put her in the strategy, she is the strategy. But for Ling, it's worth it to do it, because she's cracked. For Eunectes without the module, not so much. Now, if you paid attention, you will see why I call pre-module Eunectes an oddity. Everything about her collaborates and works together to create a perfect storm of unfortunate circumstances. If anything was different, this video wouldn't exist. If her attack was lower, if she blocked the tree, if the SP costs were lower, if she didn't have the damned trait, this video wouldn't exist. But still, all this video was about Eunectes' pre-module. This is because her module is probably the best thing that she could have asked for, and it actually ends up making her quite a solid unit. We will not talk about her module 2, because holy sh**, what the f*** happened here? She had one issue, and module 2 makes it worse, like your therapist confirming all your fears are founded. This has to be an inside joke from Hypergryph to make the worst possible module for Eunectes. she becomes worse with it. But we're talking about Module 1, which is great. It's Tsuma's toolbox. It gives her SP recovery when not blocking. But slowed. Why? Why not just give her SP recovery when not blocking? Instead, they gave her a recovery that gives her 1 SP every 7 workdays. However, the level 3 module boosts SP when blocking even further, going 55% faster than normal, so it balances out. Still, there is this insistence to stay true to the spirit of the archetype and not just nullify her trait. Another very important note is that this module does allow Warfarin and Liskarm to help her and give her SP, which is huge. This module is just what Eunectes needed. It managed to solve the main issue outlined in this video, which was the skills being a chore to activate. And that is the end of our story. It really goes to show this entire module is a very simple fix. Eunectes was always just one funky slide away from being good. Before the Module 1, I honestly considered her the worst 6-star in the game, even below Mostima with her 90 quadrillion SP costs and Guard Skadi with her being Guard Skadi and thus completely worthless. So this story, I am happy to report, has a happy ending. There's just not much to say about current day Eunectes. She is very solid, which is probably connected to how she makes Arknights fans very solid herself. Just like how Gummy makes me hey, let's talk about Gummy! Arknighters, you need to understand. We got